ladies. Oh my goodness. Hope you had an amazing weekend, an amazing beginning of your week. So, I want to share with you a book that I'm currently reading. One of a gazillion books, I'm sure you guys know by now that I have a gazillion books constantly floating around, but the most current one that I started on Sunday, I'm like seriously geeking out. So it is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win. So the funny thing is, behind this book, is it's been in my house for well over a year. Got it from my husband because he listens to Jocko's podcast. It's about Jocko, and both authors actually were Navy SEALs, but Jocko was a Navy SEAL, and he talks about his life as being a Navy SEAL. He also has become a leadership coach in the business world and stuff like that, him and Leif both. So I kind of have ignored this book because there's been other leadership books that I've been reading and all that stuff, but I've heard a lot about this and I've kind of glanced through it off and on over the last year. But for some reason, I felt like it was the right timing for me to actually read it because my husband is reading it as well. And it's kind of funny because I am a much faster reader than him. And so it has taken him, I think, 2 or 3 weeks to get to chapter 3, and I surpassed his chapters within Sunday, just sitting down for a couple hours because I wanted to. But that's just how I am. I am just a ferocious reader. So, but there are some amazing nuggets that I want to be able to share with you guys of what I've gotten up to so far, which is I've gotten up to chapter 5. And there's 10 or 12 chapters in this book. But what does a Navy SEAL have to actually say or share that can lead us as a team is pretty phenomenal and pretty awesome. And I really like a lot of his little nuggets because we each are leaders, and being a leader is about that extreme ownership. And so I'm going to explain a little bit about what he means about extreme ownership, which is basically putting aside our egos, right? Putting aside our fears, putting aside our egos, and taking ownership with no excuses, of being able to realize that we each have gifts and talents, but the only way we can truly function as a team is as each of us be able to step into our leadership roles, of stepping into knowing that we are leaders. All right, so some of the nuggets that I've learned from this book so far is many exceptional leaders took absolute ownership. They made no excuses. Egos took a back seat. Implementing these principles changed their lives and made them a better, more productive employee, more supportive spouse, engaged parent. Once people stop making excuses and stopped blaming others, they are better. But they're also humble, able to keep their egos from damaging relationships and adversely impacting the mission and the team. And that's the thing. This is from the forward. Just that alone is understanding that when we take, here it says, by taking ownership, checking our egos, and accepting the blame for a difficult relationship, we are able to repair relationships and regain the trust of our leaders. And then he talks about a number of school teachers, educators, and coaches have told us how the concept of this book have made them better, delivering greater impact and improving the lives of their students and athletes. They've had people talk about how it's even saved their marriage. Helping others live better lives is also a way for us to honor the legacy and heritage of those we served with in combat who gave their last full measure. We owe them everything. So this is from the authors of the book. And it had me thinking of realizing that I am not perfect. I know this. I've shared this with you lovely ladies of how I lead you guys, that, there's going to be stuff that I don't always think of. And so I need you to help me. Let me know if you're not understanding what I'm sharing with you or what I'm saying, so that we can continue to grow together really well as a team. To know that, when I talk about our structure in different ways, if you're not understanding it, please let me know. Understanding that when when I want us to place volume in particular ways and all that stuff, it's to help us as a whole team, right? Because I want us to be able to thrive and to grow and to build together, right? Side by side. So here in the preface, it talks about, in the SEAL program, it is all about the team. The sum is far greater than the parts. There can be no leadership where there is no team. We continue to learn and grow as leaders every day, just as any leaders who are truly honest with themselves must. Then he talks about the idea for this book was born from the realization that the principles critical to SEAL success on the battlefield are directly applicable to success in any group, organization, corporation, business, and to a broader degree, life. This book provides the reader with our formula for success, the mindset and guiding principles that enable SEAL leaders and combat units to achieve extraordinary results. It demonstrates how to apply these directly in business and life to otherwise achieve victory. And it's super cool because each chapter he gives the combat stuff, which is where my husband totally geeks out. And then he gives the practical how to apply it to the business world, right? So let's see. The laws of combat, where the key to not just surviving is to prioritize and execute. Then he talked about no time for a complex plan. Then he realized that one of the biggest gain in a leadership lesson was that needing to do much more careful mapping. The same principles are the key in the business world. Any situation where a group of people must work together to execute a task and accomplish a mission need to be able to all have voices in it, right? The single most important factor is the collection of lessons. Let's see. The only meaningful measure for a leader is whether the team succeeds or fails. For all that definitions, descriptions, and characterizations of leaders, there are only two that matter: effective and ineffective. Trying to pull out just the nuggets that can really make sense and stand alone. How a junior leader was brought up depending entirely on the strength, experience, and patient guidance of a mentor. Some mentors were exceptional, others lacking. While mentorship from the right leaders is critical, this method left some substantial gaps in leadership knowledge and understanding. So crucial leaders of every level of a team need to be able to take charge and lead, but also play the role of being able to really hear and figure out, some of these tenets. Leaders in critical decision making and effective communication in high pressure situations are better prepared for combat. So such concepts are simple but not easy, and they apply to virtually any situation, to any group, team, organization, or individual seeking to improve performance, capability, efficiency, and teamwork. They are sometimes counterintuitive and require focused effort and training to implement in practice. But this book provides the necessary guidance so that anyone can apply the principles. So organization and structure. He talks about how, and this is all just in the intro, right? He talks about the fundamental building blocks of leadership. This book derives its title from the underlying principle, the mindset, that provides the foundation for all the rest: extreme ownership. Leaders must own everything in their world. There is no one else to blame. This book is organized in 3 parts: winning the war within, the laws of combat, and sustaining victory. So we're going to just go through part 1 real quick, which is chapters 1 through, I think it's 5, or yeah, something like that. I'll pull out just my little nuggets also, so you guys can get on to your beautiful, blessed day. So all the good things I had done and solid reputation was now meaningless. There was a combat and there was losses, all right? So despite the many successful combat operations I had led, I was now the commander of a unit that had committed the SEAL mortal sin. I began gathering information. It was obvious there were some serious mistakes made. The planning phase in the battlefield, the plans were altered, all sorts of things. Then I assembled the list of everything that everyone had done wrong, but something was missing. I reviewed my brief, the single point of failure that had led to the incident. Then it hit me. There was only one person to blame, me. I had to take complete ownership. Despite the tremendous blow to my reputation and to my ego, it was the right thing to do. The leader is truly and ultimately responsible for everything. That is extreme ownership, the fundamental core of what constitutes an effective leader. So the principle, all responsibility for success and failure rests with the leader. The leader must own everything in his or her own world. The leader must acknowledge mistakes and admit failures. When subordinates aren't doing what they should, leaders that exercise extreme ownership cannot blame the subordinates. They must first look in the mirror. If an individual on the team is not performing at the level required for the team to succeed, the leader must train and mentor that underperformer. If underperformers cannot improve, extreme ownership requires leaders to look at an organization's problems through the objective lens of reality. Set ego aside, accept responsibility, consistently work to build a better team. Such a leader, however, does not take credit for his or her team's successes, but bestows that honor upon his subordinates. Application to business. So this is how it applies to us. So he talks about how he was brought into a situation and how he was here to help this situation because the CEO was getting kind of, bristly with him. Then he talks about how one of the issues that could be going wrong is that the CEO was blaming others. He needed to remove his ego, his personal agenda, and look at what the mission was. How can you best get your team to most effectively execute? In order to execute this plan, in order to truly become an effective leader, you have to realize and accept total responsibility. You have to own it. He talked about how the best performing SEAL units had leaders who accepted responsibility for everything. The best leaders, checking their egos, accepting blame, sought out constructive criticism, and took detailed notes for improvement. Now, isn't that something that, human nature, we all want to be able to blame, right, others for us not being able to accomplish a particular goal or do something, or it's because, so-and-so is not, in this business especially, it can be so-and-so is not doing their volume in a particular way or this or that. And instead, when we look at our own responsibilities of our business, we're able to take that extreme ownership because we each are leaders. We each are leaders of our own business and leading for our clients, our customers, right? So the big takeaway from that chapter is to understand that when we take ownership of our business, when we take ownership of how we want to serve and support our clients and our customers, then we are able to see clearer and to be able to humbly say, I was kind of new in the beginning and I didn't, maybe necessarily know and understand some stuff. So do you mind if I go back over some things with you, some things that I've learned in the last couple of months? I would really love to be able to serve you better. People really like that. They like that humility, that coming forth. And so that's where I'm at with you lovely ladies, is I know I have not always led you in the best of ways because there were things that I was still learning. And that's no excuse. I am going to continue to be raw and honest and vulnerable with you lovely ladies because I want us to continue to grow and to be this beautiful, amazing team that I know that we are. And so that's where, honest communication and us working together is so super important and so super powerful. And we are rocking it with this whole, working together of giving us that positive pressure of Diamond Club, right? Of having us just take ourself and taking it up a notch of saying, you know what? I am worth doing this. My business is worth doing this. And I am going to serve and support so many more people because I'm willing to step outside of my comfort zone. So I'm going to leave us on that rather than going on into lots more other chapters. Just know that I will probably pepper you lovely ladies with quotes and stuff over the course of the rest of this month in September as I continue to dive into this book because, like I said, it is super amazing and it's just helping me learn more and more on how to be a better leader for you lovely ladies. So just to give you a real quick idea of what to look forward to is chapter 2 is no bad team, only bad leaders. That one was really good. It was interesting because it shares about two SEAL teams who one was constantly behind, and all they did was they switched up. This was during training trials, right? They switched up the leader, and that one that had been consistently behind, that team that was constantly behind, losing all of the challenges and all that stuff, all of a sudden became at the forefront. That's pretty powerful, right? Just because the leader was different in how he spoke to his team and how he encouraged his team and how he had the team focus on each of their strengths rather than blaming any one particular person for the faults or the failures of the challenges. Then chapter 3 is about believing. Chapter 4 is checking our ego. Chapter 5 is cover and move. Chapter 6 is simple. Chapter 7 is prioritize and execute. Chapter 8 is decentralized command. Chapter 9 is plan. 10 is leading up and down the chain of the command. 11, decisiveness and uncertainty. And 12 is discipline equals freedom, the dichotomy of leadership. So that is my current jam that I am writing, that I will continue to pepper with you lovely ladies on and share. Please reach out, let me know if there's anything that I can help you with this week or as we get into about to enter into September, so that we can definitely continue to grow and learn as a team and to be able to just be the amazing warrior women that we are. All right, you guys take care and have a very blessed day. Talk to you soon.